working with him for a while, though only a couple weeks of full practice. But impressions, good, bad? What have you seen?
We make shots. We've got guys that can make shots. I think we'll be able to stretch defenses with the way if they continue to shoot it the way they've been shooting it, Sean and Taz in particular. But JB has shot it really well. That's three guys on a perimeter, and Isaiah shot it really, really well. So be able to step whatever he is now, 6'10", 11, 7'2" with his hair.
You said 4 out, 5 out maybe with Isaiah out there. Do you like how it's looking?
It's hard when you play against yourselves, you know. It's hard to tell anything because they know what's going to happen before it happens, pretty much. So it's hard to run offense. And Gabe's there telling everybody what's going to happen, and it'd be great if we were playing somebody else.
Isaiah, I mean, obviously he goes through the ordeal that he does last year, and I'm sure there's some mental things there for him to get over physically. Are you surprised at how well he seems like he's kind of bounced back pretty quickly?
I was really surprised this summer. I thought he would be, real ginger with it, but I mean, he was out there running up and down, playing, running and jumping, and he hasn't shown any sign of, maybe favoring the other leg or whatever. He's been from the beginning ready to go.
So is he at a level now where he can? I mean, a lot of people don't know a lot about him still. I mean, because of his injury. So I mean, is he at a place where he can show some things and
I tell you what, he's shot the ball so well from the perimeter. I mean, he's really shot the ball well. He shot a couple yesterday that didn't move the net. I mean, they were from three. We got, he's got to rebound it better and do some other things that way. But I mean, offensively, he's really shot the ball well.
So I mean, even out the three, he could.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Having a 5 shoot a 3, I mean, that's different. You didn't have that.
Well, if we could or maybe would try maybe sometime play JB at basically to guard a 4, but he's going to be a perimeter guy, and with Isaiah being able to go out there and make shots, it's really going to spread people's defense if all that comes to fruition.
Okay, what runs through your mind option-wise for lineups on the court? You seem to have an awful lot of options there, and I'm thinking partially about Sean and Taz. Are they better together out there, or is it better to have one of them off the bench?
Well, the hard thing, Bob, is not having both of them on the floor and getting in foul trouble. That's my biggest fear. You'd kind of like to have one of them to be able to come in off the bench and make shots for you, but I mean they both obviously deserve to start. I honestly think we can put 5 guys out there that can all make shots. If we played Isaiah and JB up front. And I went back and looked at our last 5 or 6 games, and JB ended up playing a lot of 4 anyways last year. And he's a lot bigger and stronger now than he was a year ago.
JB, you mentioned the shot chart you showed him was either close or far. Not much in mid-range. That's the push there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But John, if we can get people spread, it'll be easy. but you got to be able to spread them. But I think we can. I think they're going to have to guard all those guys. You know, we had guys before they didn't have to guard, and so they could kind of leave somebody in the lane and protect the basket. I don't know that they'll be able to do that now. We got to pass it better, you know. But I mean, I think that's probably everybody at this time of year. We bang a lot of balls off ankles, you know.
Team rebound. Every guy that I asked said they were guilty of watching Derek go get it. I mean, is this a team rebounding team?
It's going to have to be. Yeah, it's going to have to be.
If you get 4 or 5 from your guard, you take that?
Sure, why not? You know, Keedy, for being a little guy, he rebounds the ball pretty well for being as little as he is.
He started shooting well enough that they'll have to guard him.
I don't think they will, but I mean, Bob, I can't believe how much better he's gotten, and because I didn't work with him at all. You know, I didn't spend any time with him on his shooting. That was all him. He was in here every day, pretty much all day.
Is that improvement partly based in slowing down, like you worked with Derek some last year, gathering, getting?
No, his mechanics were horrible, and he's really cleaned them up. But he did that. I mean, none of our guys put any time in with him, and that was him. I looked down from my office and see him, and it's like I was shocked when I saw the ball go in the first time. But he's not like those other guys. And he doesn't make shots like they do, but he is making shots now.
Got one more about rebounding. If you bring extra guys to try to get the rebounds, you got to obviously put more pressure on your transition defense. There's a risk reward there when you do that and send extra guys. Because Gabe talked about putting maybe 2 guys on the opposite to try to go get the ball and make up for that. Walk me through that. There is a risk reward there, right? If you don't get it.
Well, I mean, you have to look at who's sitting on the other bench, and the guy sitting on the other bench is probably saying, "Hey, we got to block out. You know, we can't give them 2, 3, 4 shots every possession." Well, that automatically holds them in. Now you're not worried about transition there as much because everybody's going to start from the same place. So, you know, I think the better offensive rebounding team you are, the less you're concerned about transition.
Where are you guys defensively overall as a team?
We suck. We don't guard very well. We're putting a lot of time in trying to do a better job of guarding the ball and trying to do a better job of guarding without fouling. We don't make rotations the way we need to. You know, if we could get to the point where we could make rotations the way like we did when it was Deshaun and those guys, then we'd be really good. But we're not there. We still have a tendency to stand and watch instead of go. You know, if you're going to make good rotations and you're really going to be a good defensive team, it's got to be so reactive. And we're not, we're turning our head, looking, seeing where the ball is, rather than reacting to make the rotation that we need to make.
How about rim protection and eraser?
DC's been pretty good. Once we kind of got him moving a little bit, he needed infusion of
Encouragement?
I don't think he took it as encouragement, but I I kind of half meant it that way. But no, he's done a great job. He's done a great job. Paulie's not as big, but he's bouncy. And Cindy's getting better. He's getting better defensively. He still struggles offensively.
Coach, with James, is this a fracture or a break? And is there any update you'd like to?
Justin, I don't know what to tell you. Honestly, it's neither. It's some people, I guess, those two bones are it's not they've grown together. They're together, and what happened was he stepped on somebody's foot and turned, they just broke apart. They're not broken, but they're apart, and they were together from the time he was born. If that makes any sense to you, but I don't know what you do to fix it. I mean, we can't glue it back together, obviously. So they said in the beginning, they said 5 or 6 weeks. In 5 or 6 weeks it would heal, but I don't know what that means. Yeah, I don't ask because I really don't want to know.
Does that impact what you do with him, though, since you've got so many guys?
The way he was playing before he got hurt, he was going to play.
You may ride this one out.
He's quicker off the floor than our other guys. So, I mean, the plan all along was to redshirt him. So, I think that's what his dad wants, and that was kind of his mindset going in. He was actually, Justin was kind of prepping him for that, and but he shocked me. He's a lot better than what I saw on film. A lot better.
Based on what you got with this team, do you think this is going to be a team that wins by outscoring people as opposed to limiting them and stopping them as they've been in the past? And that's probably not the way you want to play?
Well, I tell you what we got. We have to make free throws down the stretch that we didn't do a year ago. We'd had another 5 or 6 wins if we just make free throws. Think about how many free throws we missed that they came down, and it started with Texas. We're up 2. All we got to do is make a couple free throws. We're up 4. They can't score. They don't have enough time to score 2 baskets. And shoot, we miss both of them. And they come down and make 1 from 3, and we lose by 1. The Baylor game, we got Baylor down 2, and we missed 2 free throws, and they make a shot from half court. So we just got we got to be able to stand at the line and make free throws. And the guys we had there were, it was Sean sometimes, it was Deuce a lot of times. We just didn't make the ones we really needed to make.
With your rotation issues, is it guys not knowing where to do, or is it breaking some bad habits, like you said, looking at the ball instead of reacting?
Well, it's all about reacting, and when you stand there and watch, and then you're like, oh, and then you're trying to run and catch up. You never catch up. You never catch up. You don't. We were so good at running through balls before because we reacted so well. we haven't ran through balls like that in a couple years.
Well, with your lineups, do you have to have either Curry or Kedrian or one of the 2 freshmen on the floor at all times? So do you have to have a ball handler, point guard, or is your supporting cast with the guards good enough that you don't have to have a point guard necessarily?
Kedrian's played well. He's shot the ball better than what he shot it a year ago, and his ball security is a lot better. Colby's ball security might be the best of all of them. And, you know, he's a freshman, but when you play at Canton McKinley, you play pretty good competition. So he's probably a little more prepared for what was coming than the other freshmen. They play a great schedule there.
And Malik, what have you seen out of him?
Well, he just had his molars pulled, so not much. He was, you know, he and Keetering were going at it pretty good early, and then he had the problem with the molars, and so I don't know how much longer that is. Used to make me mad, you know, when I didn't practice, but I mean, we got 15 guys now. I don't know what to do with them anyway. So.
Sitting here right now, would you safe to say there's more unknowns than knowns with you for this team?
Yeah, probably so. Yeah. We don't have we just don't have veteran guys that played a lot of minutes coming back much. I mean, Taz didn't play that many minutes till the end, till you know, towards the end. Sean didn't either. And those are pretty much our most experienced guys, and that's a whole lot different than having Deuce back and having Derek back, and you know, or before having JC and Dax back. There's a lot of unknowns. I think it's probably fair to say that they possibly could make up for bad defense because they shoot the ball.
Goes back to my question about outscoring people.
Yeah, I hate to count on that, but especially in this league, you know, this is a really athletic league, and it's they guard pretty good in this league. But you think some of the things, you know, Texas has had us down 20-some. We come back and win. I think Tech had us down pretty good. We come back and win. So, Oklahoma State, yeah. So, you know, it's you hate to try to have to outscore people.
But you had Deuce, when he was a freshman, obviously showed a lot of flashes early and was a pretty good player as a freshman. Javon and Dax obviously showed a lot of good things as freshmen and played a lot better than you would expect. Do you see any of that at all in Kobe and Seth, or am I just reaching here a little bit?
They're not as athletic as the guys you mentioned, and JC and Dax in particular was really athletic, and they played against Tavon and Tariq and guys every day too that were pretty good. So you know, their competition was I think for them a lot harder, a lot more taxing than what we've got now. We've got a bunch of young or new guys now that haven't been through the grind like those guys had been. And you know, I like junior college guys because they're used to eating a cheese sandwich and riding in a van, you know, and you know, they're not spoiled. They're not spoiled with all the amenities that you have at a place like this, where those other guys kind of, you know, they kind of expect it.